Okay. Okay. I think I got everything set up there. Okay, good morning. This looks like my phone is gonna crash. I'm trying to make sure it doesn't crash. Okay. Good morning, Addison. I'm trying to do something a little bit different this morning. See if I can access things from multiple ways here. Okay. So I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes to get on. See a couple people join. Morning, Michael. Morning, Addison, Amy. Okay, so lifting the fog. That's what I decided to call this, and I don't know if that's the title that I'm going to stick with. To be honest, I might change titles. I have no idea. I was just feeling foggy. So I could barely even type just a second ago. Asked Michael, he popped me a message, and I was like, I can't even type. Good morning, guys. Yeah, can everybody hear me okay? The dog's gonna go start chewing on a bone. Let me move her. Hey, Sadie, go. Take your dog someplace else. Okay. Don't need the dog going right there. So yeah, so lifting the fog, which I probably need to do this morning. I have not had enough coffee. 1 or 2 sips, and you can hear it. Okay, good. Thank you. What I was thinking about was, as I got up this morning and I started in on my gratitude prayer that I say every single morning, you know, and like I rolled over and I'm like, oh, I don't want to get up. And okay, no, say your gratitude prayer. So I started saying the gratitude prayer. And it's really just kind of what flows in, right? There's no set dialogue here. It just is what it is each morning. So I'm thinking in advance for the things that I want to call in, you know. So what am I claiming for my day? What am I claiming for my month, my year this morning? And I don't know if any of you saw, yesterday I shared like a journal entry and just trying to share, you know, the basic idea as to how I journal. That's one of my favorite ways to journal is putting in the, you know, I don't know how, but it just is, comment, and then filling in the blank. And I just keep writing and writing and writing until I'm done. And this morning, as I was saying the gratitude prayer, I was just, you know, I literally said it all the way to the point of me sitting up in bed, and my last little prayer came out just as my feet hit the ground. Like, okay, and then I bolted and ran and found a sweatshirt and all that good stuff. But came downstairs, got coffee, and was thinking about stuff, and that made me think about conversations with God, not the book from the 90s, but just the daily conversations with God. And maybe that's what I should title this, Lifting the Fog, Conversations with God. Yeah, there you go. It rhymes, right? I'll make a poem out of this time. So, I know that a lot of the times what I've been faced with is, you know, well, how do you even know? And looking back at the past, especially, it's like, how do you even know that you're having a conversation with God? How do you pray? How do you converse? You know, because it's basically you're talking to the air. At least, yeah, you're talking to the air. A lot of people, let's go, that's just crazy. You know, I don't pray because I feel stupid. I feel silly. What's the difference between prayer and meditation? It's a lot of difference. It's a lot of difference, but yet not. And then, you know, what's the purpose, and why does it have to be to the Creator, you could say. And I'm going to just use the word God. Simplify it across the board. So I was thinking, you know, the purpose is to lift the fog. That's why we do it. We do it to lift the fog in our lives, to lift the veil of illusion that we live in. And it is, you know, there's certain things that we can do that will make that process easier and how often should we do it, right? How often should we try to connect to spirit, to God? So I made a video, I've made a few videos on this, just little bleeps for YouTube and everything, and I have put that, I've related it into like relationships and stuff. But let me take this off the screen here. And that communication that we have with our partner, with the people in our life, and with God, kind of like is all the same, because it's all energy based. And what we're looking at is how often should it happen? And I always say it's a continuous conversation. It's a continuous union. You're never out of the union. So you're never out of the union with self. You're never out of the union with whomever you're with. If you're in a love relationship, you're never out of the union. The most important union in here, the union with spirit, the union with God. It is an ongoing, constant presence, whether you feel it or not, in your life, making an effect on your life. So with that, it's like why I'm actually decided, I think, to talk about this is because here we are in January, and so many people are looking at new directions in life, and career changes and relationships and health and pulling in more finances and doing all this different stuff. And then they throw all this spaghetti on the wall, and they go and they do all this different stuff, but they're wasting their energy, they're wasting their time, because they're not doing the most important they're not having the most important conversation that they need to have. And that's to tap in, right? Tap into spirit, tap into God, find your path. You might call it intuition, to listen to the intuition, to really find that course. So if you really want to know what path to take, if you really want to know what the next decision is, it is all about prayer. So there you go. That's what I'm discussing this morning, prayer. And the importance of it. And what I've discovered, I'll tell you a story. There's this, I don't remember even where it came from. It's pretty, these tales get told. People who, are more in tune and are following faith and just listening to that inner guidance system, good shit just happens. And it's just like they become lucky people. And luck is not something that just happens. Luck is created, and it is created through a strong prayer life. It is created through a strong connection life, because that's what prayer is. It's a connection life. It is being in unity with. So if you want to have luck and you want things to just kind of like fall into place, that just happens, well, prayer is the answer. Prayer is the answer. And there's different things. I'm going to give a couple little different things on here as to, this little tap-ins. How do you really truly tap into spirit, and how can prayer kind of manifest on a consistent basis? Because it's not just about popping off, my little gratitude prayer is not the only prayer. I say that I pray twice a day, but that is when I actually slow down, take the time, and it is, literally just, let me dump something here. And it is literally just something that I really take that time for. So I'm very focused on it. Matter of fact, I think, well, it's not scheduled. I don't have it on my calendar. It's not that scheduled. It's just my morning and my night ritual. So I start the day with it. I end the day with it. And here's the thing. I do it almost all the time throughout the day. There's rarely a moment that I'm not tapping in some way. When I'm having a conversation with a child, even if I'm in the middle of a dispute, there's certain moments where something will happen and I will literally just go, and then I respond. In that moment, what I'm doing is I'm tapping in. I'm going internal. I'm going in for the real true answer. And I'm kind of sending off a little prayer in that moment. My prayer is, God, what am I not seeing here? What am I not seeing here? Because we operate in a world of sight. We believe our sight, and we turn away from our feeling. So we're not listening to our inner calling on the answers to much of anything. And we're judging everything by what is coming to us, by what we're seeing, instead of what we're feeling and those little voices. And there's the big thing, right? The little voices. One of my clients last year, God bless him, it was very interesting. I was doing a coaching call with him, and he was sharing with me, he's like, well, I have so many voices in my head. There's all this chaos, and there's just, this clamor of, and everything's going on. He's like, there's no way I can meditate. There's just no way I can meditate. There's no way, I don't have the ability to do that. There's too many voices in my head. And he's not talking about it like there's all these voices that are telling him to do different things. It's just all the chaos, the ramble, the monkey mind that we all have. We all have this monkey mind where things are just shooting off left and right to us, and we get caught up on, sometimes we'll just be running down this path, and it's like, take the negative thought. If you have one negative thought and then you choose to focus in, because it is a choice, you choose to focus in on that negative thought, all of a sudden that negative thought will magnetize to it other negative thoughts. So all these other negative thoughts start coming into it, and from there you end up having just a negative thought party in your head, and now you've got all these different voices in your head that are speaking nothing but negativity to you. Same thing happens with positive. You take a positive thought. If you really, really focus in on the positive thought, that positive thought is going to magnetize to it other positive thoughts of the same frequency, of the same energy will come in, and then you're going to be just sending yourself down that positive thought path. Well, how do you get to that? And how do you tap in and go, what am I supposed to see here? What am I supposed to, and when you go internally, you go, what am I not seeing? Like in those moments when I go, Lord, what am I not seeing? I'm not asking for sight. I'm asking for sight. And that's where the change happens. I'm asking to be taken to a place where I am feeling into, and it's not my feelings, but it is the true feeling of the situation, of the event, of the things that are the things that are going on, and being able to come at it from deeper compassion, empathy, a state of love, a state of release, hands off the wheel type thing, where I'm really seeing what is going on instead of jumping into it and just dealing with what is happening in that moment, because there's always so much more happening than what we see. So much more happening than what we see. Remember, we only see 2%. 2% of reality is what we see. 98% we do not even know what's going on. It's off our radar. It's off the screen. It's too far out here for us to even know that it's there. And then we focus in and we miss the big picture. We miss the truth because we're focused in on only what we can see, which is just this itty bitty little thing. And in order for us to see more and be able to experience more, we have to tame the voices in our head, which means, come back to my favorite word, which means that we have to witness what's going on in our head. We have to witness those voices for what they really are. Witnessing the voices means that we have to figure out if they are, where they're coming from. So, there's our voice, there's God's voice, and then there's the ego, basically. Or you can call it Satan, right? So whichever, those are the three voices. Now those three voices can become 100 voices. And here's the thing, 2 of those voices don't become 100 voices. One of those voices, the third one, the ego, will make itself appear as 100 other voices. And that's where you get the clamor and the chaos. All that chaos is coming only from the ego. And what you do in those moments, and here's a story to make it really, really easy to kind of understand how you kind of tap in, is imagine yourself sitting in a room You're sitting in a room and there's this great big boombox sitting there next to you. Great big, you know, like maybe you got one of those one of those big speakers, like if you were at a concert, and it's right here next to you, okay? And it is blasting out the most obnoxious, loud music, that whatever really gets to you, okay? Whatever music really gets to you, that's what this box is playing. And it is playing, and you cannot even hear anything. You're like, boom, 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 right? It's just, you feel the vibration going through your body. It's so overwhelming. It's too much. It's too much, but it's... And then if you really apply a lot of focus and pull yourself inward, off in the distance, back here, way back here where you can barely even see my hand because it's dark over there. There's, your phone is laying over there. Your phone's laying over there, and it has your favorite song on it. It has your favorite song on it, but it is turned down pretty low. It definitely feels like it's turned down pretty low because of this music that's right here, okay? But if you really work at it, if you really try and you really pull yourself in, you can bring your consciousness away from this, and you can take it all the way over here to your favorite song. All the way over here, this favorite song, that's God's voice, that's your voice, that's the truth, okay? Those are the voices that you want to listen more to, especially that being God's voice, okay? And this right here, this is all the ego. This is all that monkey brain chaos, crazy talk that you might have. But it requires, and the point of that little story, and as I told my client that I was sharing with you, when he was telling me all this chaos, is I said, you have to find a focus point. You have to find a focus point. So if you're meditating and you can't meditate, meditation is basically just bringing yourself into a state of stillness, not silence, stillness. Your outside world might be pretty silent. It may not be, you know, obviously you can try to meditate with the TV on. I wouldn't recommend it. But normally we take ourselves to a place out in nature, or we take ourselves to our meditation spot. Maybe it's in our bedroom, or we have a room for it, or we go to, you know, a holy place and we sit there and we just meditate. And what we're doing is we're just closing our eyes, bringing ourselves into internal awareness, focusing in on our breath, which our breath will bring us into internal awareness more. And just following that breath can be that focus point. And it helps the rest of the world kind of just fall away. But then these thoughts are going to pop in. And here's what meditation is. Meditation is that you just don't follow the thought. It's not stopping the thought. You're going to get bombarded by thought all the time. Your thoughts will start to slow down, but the more you meditate, you will start to come into a place where there's not so much thinking going on. But thinking is always going on because it's just here. What you do in meditation is you're just keeping your focus on the focal point. That's it. Just focusing on something. So if you're meditating with your eyes hardly open, then I always suggest focus on, you know, like if you have a flower in front of you, if you have a tree in front of you, just go towards the gaze of that tree and just bring yourself into the presence of the tree. I prefer to just focus into my heartbeat, to my heart rhythm and my breath. And I close my eyes and I just focus in on that. And I just follow my breath. And I allow my breath to carry me into the meditation, into the stillness. And the stillness being that I'm just watching my thoughts go by as though it is a river in front of me. I'm choosing not to jump into the river. I'm choosing just to watch the river. If I do accidentally jump into the river, something goes off and I find myself playing around in a river, that means that I attached to a thought and now I'm out there playing with that thought. And what's happening? Like on the front side of this, I said, if you have a negative thought and you start focusing on a negative thought, all of a sudden it's going to magnetize to it other negative thoughts. Same thing with a positive thought, right? Well, meditation doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. It's about not attaching. So you're not attaching to any thought necessarily. You're just focusing in. Focus in on a positive feeling. Focus in on a breathing. Focus in on that. Relaxing, surrendering. If you find that you have attached to a thought and you're playing out there in the river, as soon as you become witness to the attachment, you do what? You make a choice. You make a choice. You choose differently. You choose to come back into your body. You choose to come back to your heart. You choose to come back to your breath. You choose to come back to whatever that focal point is. Come back to the focus point. And just let everything kind of flow through. Okay? In this, you're going to find, as you practice something like that, then what you're going to do is you're going to find that you're going to be able to tap in more and more and more to intuition, to God. Those voices are going to start to shrink down. You're not going to have the daily chaos, and you're going to find yourself tapping into this communication with God easier, quicker, even more than what you normally do. And that you're going to just have inspired thought, creativity, knowing what direction to go. You know, like yesterday, I think in my journal, I wrote, I don't know how, but it just is that I always know the right steps to take. And that's what I mean by it. I don't want to have to second guess my path. I don't think any of us do. We don't want to second guess the path. We don't want to live in a fog of life. We want to know what path, because the scariest thing that we can ever do is make a decision. And that is that we're scared because we don't want to make the wrong choice. We don't want to make the wrong decision, right? Well, how do we make the right decision? We get in alignment too. So getting in alignment to making the right decision and just being lucky is nothing more than really realizing that you're always engaged in a conversation with the divine. You're always engaged in a conversation with the divine. You're never not in that conversation. It's just when you choose to show up and be present in the conversation or not. Plain and simple. It's kind of like, how engaged are you? Are you really listening to me right now? You know, if your spouse or friend is talking to you, do you notice that you come in and out of the conversation? Your presence level is always doing something like this. Well, how engaged are you? Your engagement is not necessarily conversing, but it is how present you are. How are you showing up? Are you present right there in that moment? Well, are you present in the conversation with God? How do you open up to spiritual messages when you are not attaching to any thoughts? They come through in a vision, they come through in a feeling, they come through in a knowing. It is more of that. There is a knowing. It comes down to the word, calling almost. It is just this feeling that comes through, and it's just a fuck yes. It's like, poof. Everything else just is, yeah. And as you're not attaching to it, all of a sudden there might be something that just like almost brings tears to your eyes, or brings up some sort of sensation or feeling in your body that you cannot avoid. And or maybe I've had moments where I've been meditating and all of a sudden I am crying, and I just have this like feeling. It's almost like my chest gets blown out, like my heart is just, and with that just comes this like downpour of something that is not me. And it is just undeniable, and that's what I go with. Yes, an instant that moves beyond words. All right, well, you're still not attaching to those words, so you say, you have those, but you're still not attaching. And it's not that you're attaching to it, it's that you're receiving it. So it's one of those, you're not attaching. So attaching would be, putting in your own opinion and thoughts to it instead of just receiving. So imagine a massage. You go to the massage place and you're getting a massage. Are you attaching to the massage therapist, or are you just receiving the massage? Just receive the massage, receive the message. That's it. Yeah. More of acceptance than attaching. So it really is. It's acceptance. It's receiving. It is receiving. You are receiving the message. Just make the decision. And when you have something like that happen, just you open to it. So you open to it. You surrender to it by just receiving it and experiencing it, but not questioning it. Not saying, if you're even in that moment saying your comment of stop, you're not attached. Stop. Don't attach. then that means that the conscious brain is stepping in and going, I'm attaching, right? I'm attaching. But what you want to do is, in that moment, just go and receive it. Just feel it for what it is in that moment and let it move through. And then as soon as you come out of your meditation, start making notes. Like I always keep my journal handy close to me during a meditation, because I know that when I'm in meditation, I'm going to come out with a shitload of creative energy, most likely, or at least one or two like really phenomenal ideas or thoughts, or just these knowings as to what direction I'm supposed to do, what I'm supposed to do, whether it's for the day, for the year, for the rest of my life. I don't know. That's, meditation by meditation, but it really is just receiving and not attaching to it. So I think the massage idea is probably like that. That's a really good one, because when we go in, we have a massage, we're not attaching to our massage therapist. We're just allowing ourselves to receive the massage. That's it. So, and I'm pretty sure that most everybody has been in and had a nice long hour-long massage or gone to the spa, right? So looking at more like that right there. Hey, baby. All right, Gabe is here to have this conversation with us. Okay, say hi to everybody. You're on Facebook Live. Oh, he's like, no, I'm not. No, I haven't done my hair. So you can just snuggle down. I know, bright lights. So that's meditation, is that you're not attaching to anything, but prayer is really, and and I was talking to a couple people about prayer, but prayer is more about, I use the word command, but it's not. Hey, Mr. Michael says hi. Mr. Michael says hi. It's like, yeah, he says hi in his half sleep. Prayer is more like, it's a demand, and it's not like a 4-year-old demand. It is a demand of, this is what I need, this is what I want. And I believe in praying not in meekness, not in this place of, oh please, oh please, oh please, I'm not worthy to ask. But God wants us to ask. God wants us to have that desire to ask for what we need, for what we want, for what we desire. I mean, we are creatures of desire. It is our nature, it's at our core to desire things, to always want more. And we live in a world where where desire has been cast out as though it is an evil. Now, granted, there are evil desires out there. And, I believe that the ego will try to make some of those desires happen. And we see that across the board in our world, where people are going out and they are making really bad things happen. That's not of God. That is, it's not God's intent for us to desire those things and actually have those happen. Those are forced things. That is like that going in and I'm going to make it happen, instead of opening up and saying, this is what I really, really need. You look at, I was just telling somebody the other day, I said, did Moses pray with meekness? When he wanted to part the seas, did he pray with meekness, or did he command something to happen? No, he did it with certainty. He did it with certainty, and there is no other word to use there. It is certainty. Its certainty is even greater than faith, because there is leaning in and having faith that, okay, I'm going to just breathe and I'm going to just know that this is going to happen. I'm going to have faith. And then there's, no, this is happening. I know this is happening because God's going to make it happen. God, created everything. I think he can make it happen. I think God can make it happen. Like, yeah, I'm pretty certain of that. So there is nothing that can't happen there. And when you, in those moments, like talking about that, there's just this feeling, there's just this knowingness. Well, that knowingness is also certainty. And in prayer life, it is all about not necessarily attaching to an exact moment as to when it happens. And I always pray for what I want as though it has already happened. So my morning prayer is, thank you, God, for filling up my workshop. Thank you, God, for, keeping my family safe. thank you, God, for, and it's very, very direct. If I'm going through a lot of shit and I've got a lot of emotional stuff going on, things that I'm worried about, and I'm spending my energy on worry and on these other things, because there's a lot of crappy things that happen in life too. If that ends up happening, then what I find myself doing is I'm not afraid to just go and let my tears roll and, my hair get tousled and basically just go into a raging prayer, because that raging prayer is me actually, you could look at it as though I'm coming up to God in total humility. My total, I can't do this. I'm only but human. Help. I'm not going, oh, well, things really, really are kind of troublesome, and I'm really worried about this, and oh my gosh, if you could find the time. No, it's holy shit, this is what's going on. I need right now. I desire right now. I want right now. This is what I need to have move through. Give me a sign. Give me a message. I'm like, and on those moments, I'm like, I need a message. And there's very often, I do a lot of my praying in the car, where I will be driving from my office home or something, and I'm working through something, and I will literally just start talking. I'm like the crazy lady talking down the road to spirit, and I'm just having this ongoing conversation. I allowed it to just roll out, and I refer to that as my driving prayer or my talking prayer, because I am in that moment, not focusing in on what other people's opinions are, or I keep music off. I drive mostly in silence unless there's something where I would feel like I really need to. If I'm in a down mood, then I'll put on upbeat music to pull myself up. But for the most part, my driving time is my prayer time. So if I'm in the car for 30 minutes, I'm praying for 30 minutes. I am in communion with God for that 30 minutes straight up. And that right there will allow me to tap in consistently throughout the day. So when something hits me and I go, I have a quicker tap in, because I have a strong meditation life. I have a strong prayer life. My morning prayer is focused on gratitude. My evening prayer is focused on gratitude. And my prayers throughout the day, my driving, my walking prayers, my prayers while I'm doing my dishes, while I'm doing laundry, while I'm taking a shower. It is this constant. And what it is that I'm stating and then I'm receiving. I'm just stating something, and then I go into silence and I receive, and I just allow myself to work through the chaos. That boom, boom, boom box that's right here, it comes in, and I go, that's not God. That's not God. So I'm constantly putting myself into the witness position of recognizing what is God and what is not God. Where is that God voice? And it is literally a constant conversation. It's never not there. It's just when I choose to be present to it or not. And I frequently make the choice to be present to it a few times a day. I was going through this book and I found this great quote, and then I dropped the book and I don't know where the quote is at now. So there you have it. I've lost my quote. Listening allows us to maintain a teachable spirit. It increases our teachability. There you go. That was the quote. Awakening allows us to have a teachable spirit. So if you really want to know what path to take, if you really want to be able to make the right decisions. Just a second, I'll cover this. If you really want to be able to move forward with certainty, feel like you're guided in every single moment, it is about touching, you have to have this conversation going in every single moment. So the unity that you need with God, God is never gone. Our connection is never not there. It is about just tapping into it, becoming present, becoming aware, and being willing to receive, and not try to put our egotistical thought into it, but we're going to constantly buck the system, you could say. So we're going to receive a message, and then we're going to do certain things that are going to say, well, I don't want to do that. That's not what I want. That's not what I want to do right now. And in those moments, it's really about finding what is in alignment to the moment, because sometimes you might be blessed with a whole bunch of divine thought and direction, but you're not quite consciously able to move forward into it. You're not ready. You haven't done your internal work, so you're not strong enough. Your muscles aren't strong enough to handle the task that's been presented. And sometimes the reverse is true. Sometimes you just need to just buckle down and do exactly what you've been guided to do, even though it's scary as shit. And those are often those humongous hurdles. And when we push through those and we move in faith forward, then that's that's when mountains move for us. That's when the universe, basically rearranges itself to make something happen for us. And you look out and you go, oh my God, I cannot believe that just happened. But it did, and it happened because we were in complete alignment, and we pushed through, and we really just allowed God to guide our lives, and just stepped in and went with it, and those are those moments that you just go, okay, we're going to do this thing, we're going to go do it, and we push through, and then miracles happen. But miracles can happen every single day. They do happen every single day. It's just, are you aware of the miracles? Are you truly being present to them? So meditations have occurred while driving. Yeah, it's constantly, it really is. I mean, and that's what I was thinking, because part of how this conscious coffee got started was a conversation with God. I was just like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I had conscious coffee come into my mind, and I want to keep conscious coffee. Like, I don't prepare for any of this. It is literally, I'm very serious that, like, I might wake up with a song in my head, or I might wake up with something, that a thought or whatever, and I kind of toss that around, and sometimes things from the day before affect the conscious coffee, but the true idea of whatever the heck I'm going to talk about in the morning is so organic. It happens when I'm pouring my coffee, literally at my coffee pot. I'm over there, I'm like, so God, what's the message of the day? That's what I ask every single morning. I'm like, what's the message of the day? I'm not going with, what do I want to share? What do I feel needs to be heard? No, that's all me. I'm not going, it doesn't fucking matter. What's the message of the day? What do you guys need to hear? What do I need to hear? Because, I get just as much out of my ramble as anybody else. I'm like, okay, that's a really good reminder. Am I doing that? And here you go, really connecting in and really tapping in and being presently aware of how much you're tapping in and how you're tapping in is key to seeing the path, because you're on your path, but just clearing the fog to see your path and to see that you're on the path, and knowing what decisions to make at any given moment. And that really comes back to, you've got to be able. Sorry about that. My phone did something. I don't know what came through. It's my boop boop. Okay. Oh, I'm back. But to tap in, it gives you that ability to just move forward and always know, and really trust your feeling, trust your gut. You're hungry. Okay, 2 minutes. To trust your gut and just know the next step to take. So my encouragement to you today is, do the things that you need to do to be able to tap in. Journaling is a really, really big key point of that. That's why I shared that journal stuff yesterday with everybody, was because through journaling, you, do you want to go into the kitchen? Well, you're going to have to wait just a second, okay? Journaling, you get an opportunity to tap in a little bit more and really start to work out your internal stuff and be able to see it in written form and be able to write it out and be able to ask for what you need and gain appreciation and guidance that way. Doing a good, I recommend at least 15-minute meditation 3 times a week so that you have that little bit longer scope and being able to experience and learn how to feed through the voices in your head and be able to release those. Witness. What's the voice? Where is it coming from? And look at it as though it is a river, okay? And you know, for like Addison's comment on how do you not attach and how do you receive? Pay attention to those things that make you just go, wow, yeah. Because that's the message. That's the message of your meditation. You might get none, you might get 1, you might get 50. Who knows? But then have your journal ready at the end of a meditation period, because for the next 30 minutes or so after you meditate, typically what I found is that I am just a creative zone there. And then that daily prayer, and that is that daily conscious prayer. So, you know, making that connection where you're taking that, literally, we're talking about like 30 seconds to a minute once or twice a day to just commit to that. I mean, is your direction in life, is your path, is your spiritual connection, how badly do you want growth? Is it worth 2 minutes a day? Is it worth 2 minutes a day? I hope it is. So making that, you know, on the front side and on the back side of the day, that just gives you a really good, clear connection. It's going to make it easier for you to tap in throughout the day, doing those 3 things, you know, having and creating that prayer on the front and on the back side of your day, having a meditation life 2-3 times a week of 15-20 minutes to start, and then journaling daily, and really just allowing it to flow out. So yeah, there you go. There's your homework. Get a journaling practice, get a meditation practice, get a prayer life. The importance of those things is that it will lift the fog, it will give you clarity, it'll give you direction. You'll be able to walk with confidence with your head held high and from a place of your truth, which is really being able to tap into your emotions more. So there you go. Okay. Please share this message. Please share it. Go enjoy your coffee. Go have a fucking awesome morning. Lift the fog. I hope I helped lift the fog a little bit this morning. Keep sharing your comments, but share the message. You know, hit the share button and let me know your thoughts. Let me know what's coming up. Feel free to pop me a message or share on here. You know, or if you have any questions about like how I journal or something like that, because I do journal in multiple ways too. There's many different ways to journal to get different results and everything and access different parts of the brain. But I can tell you another big key point. If you choose to take on journaling, which I strongly suggest, make sure that you do it by hand, pen and paper, okay? Opens up a different part of your brain. You're going to be able to access a heck of a lot more and open up to different things, okay? So pen and paper is key. Yeah, okay. There you guys go. I love you, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 6 o'clock-ish, okay?